Alright guys, today we are going to be going over what I would be considered to be the best route to run on a solo self-found character, or even a duo self-found, that is going to take you back to the EverQuest roots, where leveling will be a little bit slower. There'll be some great drops, you'll get to see some scenic views, and I think it's going to bring back a huge hit of the nostalgia that we've all been missing. And even on servers like this, we're still missing going to all of the most popular zones every single time, leveling up our characters. So this is going to be primarily for a solo self-found character, but obviously if you wanted to do this on any character, just to experience some of these less traveled zones, less traveled areas, I still think that you would have a great time doing it. So starting off, the first thing we're going to want to do is you're going to be in your starting area. So as far as just the starting area itself, you really can't go wrong with just staying there and getting to like level 4. I think level 4 is a really good level for starting areas. I think anything past that and you're really just the diminishing returns on those, light blues, things like that, they just get a little too slow even for someone just wanting to take their time. And there are a lot of different options that you're not stuck anyways. So yeah, the first thing we're going to do is the starting area. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to Steamfont Mountains, and we are going to kill the kobolds in their camps near the noob area to right around level 8. Now, these are going to drop several different bags. They're going to have a lot of cloth pieces, and if luck is on your side, you're going to get some cracked staffs out of this, especially if you get lucky with the surrounding areas. There's a lot of decaying skeletons and a few of the, prime mobs that are going to have those cracked staffs for you. Now, whenever you're done getting level 8 over in Steamfont Mountains, you're going to want to head to Najina. And the reason I say this is because this is a kind of a lesser frequented zone for servers that are customized like this, because everyone typically spends their time in either Current's Tower or Crushbone or something like that. Najina is an awesome zone. You're going to get a ton of bone chips to sell to other players, and it is a great way to get your money up early that way. And you're also going to have a chance to explore Najina the way that you probably didn't ever get to unless you were a magician going for your epic. I absolutely love the zone. I think it's a wonderful zone to go to level up. There's lots of different creatures there that you don't have to worry too much about respawn times. And it's just a lot of fun, in my opinion, to go there and level up from about 8 to 12. I wouldn't go any higher than 12, just because you start limiting yourself, in my opinion, to certain mobs there that do have a kind of a lesser spawn, and it can get a little bit slow. But obviously if you're a magician, you're going to be able to double up and get some of the items that you need to for your epic anyways here. So all in all, Najina is a lot of fun. After Najina, I think that Butcher Block at the chessboard is a super nostalgic throwback from level about 12 to 15. Now, if you're looking for a fast way to get from level 12 to 15, this is not it. There's no real good drops here, but there is more bone chips. But have no fear, you're about to break into the zones where you're going to start getting several different upgrades, several awesome solo self-found kind of stuff. So the chessboard is something that if you played EverQuest back in the beginning, this was a super hot spot. This was an area that you would literally have to wait in line to join groups to do the chessboard. So if you've never been, it is incredibly fun. It's really nice to be able to see, the king, the queen, the pawns, the knights. It was a really cool addition to EverQuest back in the day, as kind of like a what are they called? Easter egg sort of thing back in Butcherblock Mountains, right there in the corner in the very back. So very cool area. Loved leveling up there, and I think you will too, from about level 12 to 15. Up next, here is where you're going to start seeing some great armor drops, especially if you are a melee class. You're going to get yourself over to Runny Eye from about level 15 to 20. And the reason we're going to spend 5 levels here, and you may spend even longer here, is because you've got the blackened alloy armor here. You've got the blackened iron armor, as well as the blackened alloy or blackened iron bastard sword, which is a phenomenal two-handed weapon until you can get anything upgraded past that. But it is a substantial damage increase on the blackened iron weapons and blackened alloy weapons, as well as plate level AC from the blackened alloy armor set they've got here for chain wearers. So huge upgrades here as far as armor and weapons. And they've actually got some other great drops there as well. So if you got a chance to get on any kind of information from like the P99 website, or even anywhere else that shows the older zones, then I'd definitely recommend getting on there and kind of looking at what they have to offer besides the blackened alloy, blackened iron, and things like that. It is a tremendously fun zone, and I think you're gonna have a lot of fun there from about 15 to 20. If you haven't gotten the armor drops and things that you want between 15 and 20, then I would go ahead and turn that AA EXP on, and I would just go to town until you get everything that you want. The AA EXP is a little lower, obviously before 30, but at this point it's like I said earlier, this is not a race to the finish. This is a fun way to traverse through level 60 on a solo self-found character, and in my opinion, just have the most fun and see the most out of the way zones that you can. So after Runny Eye, I remember always leveling up almost consistently way back in the day when Kunark first came out in Lake of Ill Omen. So the reason I leveled up here was one area that I absolutely adored, and that was the Sarnak Fort. So you're going to have a tremendous amount of fun at the Sarnak Fort. There are some great drops there, like the Earring of Station, and there's some other great Sarnak drops there as well. And it's just fun to run through the fort. It really is. And depending on your trio, this shouldn't be that difficult to do. And but if for some reason you just hate Sarnax or hate the Sarnak Fort, it's not something that you're wanting to invest your time into, right outside the Sarnak Fort, there is also tremendous amounts of creatures that you can hunt down, which like the Ice Bones, Ixar Exiles, Goblin Warlords, and even more outside of the fort area. So they're all great EXP. They have chances to drop gems, chances to drop different items. Of course, skeletons are all going to drop bone chips. So Lake of Alomomen is a great spot. It's huge, so the odds of like running into someone else that's taking your mobs is pretty low. And I've always absolutely loved Lake of Alomomen. So coming up next, from level 25 to 35, you're going to go to a place called Downers. Now, if I asked you if you liked the Downers and you told me that you had never heard of it before, I wouldn't be surprised at all. However, this is one of my favorite zones to level up into this level range, and I spent some of my worst moments in all of EverQuest trying to do corpse runs here, since no one else ever wanted to come here. So there are great drops. There is 3 levels. There drops such as like the Tower Guard Blade, Sap of Piety, the whole suit of Crescent gear for Monk, the Fighting Baton, which back in the day was 8 damage, 20 delay, which was just almost game-breakingly insane, and of course Grave Sandals for Necromancer that were awesome, and there's just a lot more. So you will not regret spending 10 levels here, and it's going to go by super fast. Downers is extremely underrated when it comes to EXP. I would be surprised if you didn't end up staying and just doing AAs here past 30 to 35. So from 35 to 40, I am going to suggest that you go right over to a place called Kesora. So this is not as little known as Downers, obviously, because people come here for the dagger off of Kesora, but people don't really go there anymore. Like I said, unless it's for that dagger. Exploring this place can be a super big pain, but it's also super rewarding whenever you figure it out. So you're going to have a lot of fine steel weapons dropping, so there's going to be a lot of money to be had, but you'll be looking for things like the Straithbone Hammer, Blade of Fiery Lamentations, Kunzar Mantle, Spirit Tomb, Blade of Exalgaz, and just a lot more. So you'll be getting loot here nonstop, and having a lot of fun if you do the old school dungeon crawls here. So And next up, we are going to head directly over to the Tower of Frozen Shadows from level 40 to 45. So you're going to want to be ready to spend some time here. There are keys to be had at each level to move on to the next. I think there's 7 levels. So this is a serious dungeon crawl, and it's going to bring back just a small pinch of what EverQuest used to be for all of us. And if you've never done the crawl before, you're going to really enjoy this one. So don't rush it. Sit back, really enjoy the experience, and take this zone in for all that it is. Because there are some great pieces of gear, several named on each floor you can farm, and excellent gear upgrades. So this one is going to keep you busy. But don't worry, once you get to level 45, you can easily turn on the AAs and get a ton here. The EXP is great and has a really good zone EXP modifier as well. So you won't have any issues staying at Tower of Frozen Shadows far beyond level 45 with AAs if you just sit back, turn them on, and then grind all the way to floor 7 and, you know, obviously want to get the drops there. So next up, from level 50 to 55, this is going to be the first zone that will more than likely you have to be actual careful in, and that is going to be Kedge Keep. I'm sorry, 45 to 50, Kedge Keep. You're probably not going to like underwater zones. A lot of the players don't, but do this zone. It's a great zone. It's a lot of fun once you get to know your way around, and there's a lot of great loot. There's a big box that comes from one of the sharks that you can put additional gear in if you've obviously don't have the chance to fight the dragons yet to get the boxes or bags from them. There's some spears, seahorse scale cloaks, bard instruments, all kinds of stuff. So on top of that, it's excellent EXP to justify the danger there, and it's great AA EXP once you get to 50. Now, again, I want to touch base on the fact that it is going to be one of the zones that you kind of have to be careful in. You can get overwhelmed in Kedge Keep pretty quick. There's a lot of casters, a lot of clerics, and a lot of stun creatures. But more importantly, if you haven't got a way to have Enduring Breath yet, other than the song or spell, there is a lot of dispel characters in there. So just make sure that you keep Enduring Breath up and have it on your hotbar. That way you can cast it again if need be. So next up is another one that's you're gonna have to be a little careful in, and that is Siren's Grotto from level 50 to 55. This one didn't get really camped that much back in the day whenever I was playing, unless you were in like a huge group, because it was more of a dangerous zone, more like an in-game zone. But it's got really good gear in it, and it's an extremely fun zone whenever you can figure out the layout. It's right off the beaten path to Western Wastes, in between the big dragon area out there. But it's a lot of fun, and I think it's definitely worth it. You're going to get some of the best items you can get before going to the plains right out of this zone. So you're going to definitely want to get every one of them that you can and spend some time here both in EXP and AA EXP. I think that you're both going to get a lot out of both of those. So next up is one that you may not have ever gone to, because I know a lot of players that haven't, and that is level 55 to 60. Head over to Plane of Mischief. This is very easy to get to on this server because typically Temple of Ishan is kind of cleared out on open world, so you can go in there and kind of just run right through to get to Plane of Mischief. But you're going to want to ride this out to level 60. The zone itself is absolutely insane. It's got pitfalls, fake walls, so just expect to go in there getting lost. However, there are some pretty good YouTube videos on how to get around, and once you get comfortable with where you're going to have an absolute blast. So the names here drop excellent loot, and the experience there is great. AA EXP is just as good, and the mobs are in a class of their own as far as how they look. They're little dastardly, characters. They've got, play characters right out of the theater. They've got mimes and mimics and jesters and all kinds of really cool stuff. So that is my level 1 through 60. Now, obviously, you're going to have items and gear and quests that you're going to want to have singled out that you want to do on your journey that are going to be, specific to your trio. So of course do those. You know, just turn on your AAE speed to do them, and really give this run a try. I promise it's going to bring back some feelings of EverQuest that you had in the past that, you know, have just been absolutely long forgotten. I know it did for me. So they're all very low frequented zones and will give you a very good run for a solo self-found setup. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a comment or two. And once again, I hope you guys enjoy the run, and thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, everybody.